everyone. I am Kendall Bonner, and I am so excited to be here with you today. I'm honored because I get to moderate this amazing panel over the next hour of these powerhouse female leaders. As you guys know, real estate right now, we are facing like unprecedented challenges, right? I mean, we've got industry changes happening. It's an election year. We've got market trends happening. I mean, a lot is happening right now. And so as I'm talking with my powerhouse friends across the country, I was like, we should get together and talk about everything that's happening right now and how you ladies as leaders are, preparing your business, preparing the agents you're working with. What are you doing right now to, not just survive, but even to thrive as all these events are happening, right? So, without further ado, I want to bring in each of these amazing women and share a little bit about who they are and why they are here today. And the first lady I'm going to introduce and add to the stage is, Wendy Davis. So, Wendy is one of my dear friends. And Wendy she's been in the business over 2 decades, right? So over 20 years of experience in real estate. She has lent her expertise to, guys, 5 different companies in California, right? She's been a coach, a mentor, a launch specialist. She's a team leader. She's the proud owner of a highly successful team, Wendy Davis Group in California and Los Angeles. She consistently demonstrates her ability to drive results and exceed expectations. And she's just, as a dear friend of mine, a powerhouse female leader who I'm so honored to have met and be friends with. The next leader is Veronica Figueroa. She is also one of my really good dear friends. Veronica, we've been friends for over a decade now, as broker owners and then also as team leader. She's been a mentor to me. But, Veronica's known for being an innovative real estate entrepreneur. She also focuses on transformative growth, right? Like she transforms businesses, right? She is one of those lady leaders that you want to watch because she's always doing something really special and amazing. She's a leader, she's a builder, she's an empower of other leaders and women and other agents. Under her guidance, the Figueroa team has achieved #1 team status for the most homes sold at her brokerage, eXp Realty, in both 2021 and 2022. Like she sold, I think the number was like 2,000 homes or something like that in 1 year, which is phenomenal. And then, of course, her leadership is never just about sales. She is also about, nurturing and guiding her team. And I know she always talks about the heart and the science of real estate and bringing those things together. I mean, she just really is a powerhouse leader. And then honestly, a new friend to me who I have grown to extremely respect is Michelle Cantrell. She is a very successful boutique broker owner. She specializes in real estate growth strategies, and she's been doing this for over 30 years, y'all. So basically since she was 2, because she's amazing. And the Michelle Cantrell Group, she has been recognized as one of the top teams in the U.S. for the past 5 years. So that is such a significant accomplishment. So flowers to you, Michelle. She's been endorsed by Barbara Corcoran from Shark Tank, Sean Hannity, and Bobby Bones, and her team consistently closes 500 to 600 transactions a year. So when I tell you that we have some of the best on this call, I'm just honored because I truly feel like we have this amazing, wonderful, diverse panel of lady leaders coming to us with all different experiences and knowledge base. And really, it's just my honor and pleasure to get to interview and moderate a conversation with you ladies today. So thank you.
Thanks. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So let's get into this. I have some questions for you guys. And audience, if you guys have questions and comments, please put them in the chat. And I can't wait to highlight your comments and things like that. So please, we want to hear from you. If you have questions for our panelists as well, if we have time, we will get those questions answered. So On my team, ladies, I constantly stress to my team, mindset, skill set, tool set. That is just something we always talk about. And so, one of the biggest challenges, though, I find agents have right now, and what varying agents are going through is mindset, right? There's with between election, the threat of a recession, the industry NAR changes, like so much is being thrown at us. Mindset is so huge. So, Michelle, I want to start with you. What would you say is been the number one thing that's helped your business mindset right now? What advice can you give to our audience about mindset right now?
Well, Kendall, I believe mindset is everything. I mean, it just really is. And as leaders, we have to be continuously learning and growing and adapting. And it's just so important that we don't ever get, I've been in this business, really, it's like 35 years now. And I've probably learned more in the past 5 or 6 years than I have my whole career. Because thank goodness with technology, we're so open to everyone in the country, and just to stay in front of everything and know that change is inevitable. Things are going to change. I've seen so many changes in this industry. And knowing that ahead of time and knowing that we just embrace change, it doesn't have to be bad, and just keeping our agents updated, because there's less fear when they're updated and they know, I've been through a recession, I'm still here. We have a election every 4 years. I mean, this change that we're seeing now, with the NAR settlement, that's different. But when I started, we didn't have buyer's agency. So things change, but it doesn't have to be bad change. It can also be for the good of the industry. So that mindset is just everything. And as leaders, it's our responsibility to keep growing and learning. Never let that stop.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, when I think about, you're right with the fear, right? Fear is a huge part
Right.
of mindset. And, I tell agents all the time, a lot of times fear is a result of a lack of knowledge or a lack of experience. And the more you can get educated, like being on calls like this, really, I think plays a powerful role in helping to overcome some of those fears that you have. Wendy, I know like for you, mindset is, and that mental grit and all of that is a huge part of your business and your sustainability, your agility. Talk to us a little bit about mindset from your perspective. Any tips that you have for our audience on protecting their mindset? What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I agree with Michelle and what you guys are saying. Mindset is definitely everything. I think that a lot of people will always focus on many other things that we have to focus as business owners. But the number one thing that I've honed into in order to succeed in the things that I've decided to do or the goals that I've wanted to accomplish has been my mindset. I've learned to manage it. So being able to manage your mindset is going to determine the decisions that you make, uh, not only on business, but it's also going to help you on your personal life. It really reflects the type of resilience that you have. And especially nowadays, with how challenging the market is, learning how to be resilient in this market is so important. But in order to be resilient, I've had to really hone in on my mindset. And that means that there's some work to do. You got to do some work in order to be able to accomplish that goal. It's not something that you wake up and all of a sudden you know how to do. You actually have to you have to set some habits on how to do it. One of the things that influenced me, two books influenced me a very long time ago. It was The One Thing by John Papasan and Mr. Williams. And the second book was I think it's called The Morning Miracle by Hal Elrod. I know a lot of you have probably heard of that book, but if you want tips, I literally follow not all 6 to 7 of the things that he talks about in there, but I've honed in and really created a structural habit of what I do in my mornings in order to set myself up for the day. And I'm going to tell you, I've gone through some really hard times where there's $0 in my bank account and I've had to start at zero. I mean, I went from building, launching franchises, had all this money to like really starting a new business when I decided to launch the team. And as you all know, money goes like that. So what I've had to do is hone in on my mindset, follow the habits of, and I'll share some with you. If you guys haven't read the book, there's meditation, there's gratitude that you can do when you wake up. I have a journal, a specific journal that I write all of my gratitude in. And I read something. So I'm always reading a book. Now, I don't sit there and read the whole book in the morning, but 2-3 pages, it sparks an interest in my mind. And then all of a sudden, I have something to share with my team if I want to inspire and influence, right? So everything I'm doing in the morning with my habits is already setting me up for my day. I set up 3 goals. I have 50 things to do during the day. Well, guess what? I write 3 things that I have to do that day. So I'm really aligning myself with my goals through my mindset and empowering myself in order to be able to execute my day. Another thing that you could do are affirmations. You hear about that all the time. Yes, I'm attracting a buyer today. I'm attracting a listing. I am a closer. There's so many things that you all learn out there with different coaches, and you see a bunch of YouTube channels. We'll do it. Write down 3 affirmations. And so if you want to learn more, I really advise you to get that book, Hal Elrod. It's like $15, and you can really read through. It's an easy read. And that's a tip that I can share with you when it comes to mindset. But the importance of it, I'm going to go back to it. It's like losing weight. You got to exercise your habits every day, and you get to decide. You get to determine what is going to work for you, because what works for you is not going to work for Veronica. It's not going to work for Michelle. It's not going to work for Kendall, right? But it's going to work for me. So if there's 7 things on there, pick the top 3 and start there. It's all baby steps. So that's my advice.
I love it. I mean, so many good tips there. I mean, I agree with you. Like, reading books is fundamental. I have been an avid reader, and I absolutely agree with you. That is so, so, so important. Veronica, queen mindset, right?
Well, all these ladies, they nailed it, right? Everything they're saying, I'm like, yes, yes, yes. I love how Wendy just said, find what works for you, right? I think we have the baseline of, again, in this, I would say, era that we're in business, right? The real flex is preserving your energy, taking care of yourself, personal development. I'm seeing, right? It's something that people are proud to talk about now and lean into. So it's really cool to hear that as a trend that, not only these ladies are following, but other leaders are. One of the things I actually talked about yesterday, and I'll, again, echo everything they said. Yesterday, I was speaking to a group of 1%ers, right? They're all leaders. And here's the thing, we're always looking for our next level, right? And it's really cool that sometimes we try to find something new. And if we go back to the fundamental and the basics of, what got us there, sometimes the answers are within. And they asked me, how did I grow my business to the level that I, got to? And it was interesting. How did I attract? How did I become a leader? And I went back to 4 core principles that I've always had in my business. And it does go back to mindset, right? I've always dared to be rare. I found this little certificate as I was cleaning out my office the other day that my mom gave me. And it says, most likely to be the boss. At 7 years old, at 6 years old, they gave me that certificate. And here's some things that I recognize as I reflected on that. I know I've always been a leader. I know that. As a little girl, I was always, again, they called me bossy, but ultimately I was a leader. And I had to accept that. There was times where people, when you're a little girl, they tell you being bossy is a bad thing, right? But I just recognized that I was a leader. And there's 4 things that I look back on my life that I really embraced is, my mindset is, what kind of reputation do I want to leave in the world, right? I say, dare to be rare. Reputation. What's the reputation I want to have, right? Someone who's positive, optimistic, someone who I hope is kind, who is understanding, who is loving. So I look at my brand as part of, again, my mindset, who I want to be, what I want to do. And then another thing, especially we apply to this industry, is I'm always in attraction mode. I am attracting. I want to attract leaders in my world, whether I was recruiting friends, whether I was trying to get in an opportunity in my career, whether I was recruiting buyers and sellers. This has been a mindset that I've had my whole life. I am in attraction mode all the time, right? Mm-hmm. And it may not be monetary. It's just attracting good things in your life, right? That's the reputation I want to have. Another thing that I would say is embracing rejection. Like, rejection should not be looked at as such a bad thing. if you can have the mindset of just embracing rejection. Another book that I would recommend, it's such an easy book. Kendall, you and I got this when we were Remax franchise owners. Go for the No is such a good book to where you actually say, I want to accept and embrace rejection to help me be better. Of course, not beating yourself up, but more like, what can I have learned there? What's the opportunity for me to become a better leader, right? Work on my health, work on my relationships. I need to lean into the feedback, lean into the opportunity, right? Rejection could be a gift to help you become better. And ultimately, last but not least, that I've always used is, what kind of experience do I want to leave in the world? And what kind of experience do I want people to have when they're in my space, whether it's one of my leaders, whether it's a friend of mine, whatever it might be. So I'd always use those principles, and it guides me. It's a guiding light for me to just strive to get better one day at a time, one step at a time. And that rejection is so important because, hey, sometimes you're going to reject yourself. You're going to be mad at yourself for not accomplishing something. Have grace with yourself and say, tomorrow's a new day. We all go through life things. We all go through highs and lows in our business. But you know what? I'm going to embrace this opportunity, reflect back on it, and I'm going to get better. And I'm going to take the steps necessary to become the best version of me tomorrow, whether it's in my business life, my health, my personal relationships. And yeah, that's what my mindset focuses on.
That, and so many nuggets from all three of you ladies today. And I think it's important to start with mindset, because mindset is the foundation to everything about our business and our industry and our sales and everything. And Veronica, you talked about accepting our leadership, our roles as leaders. I can totally identify with that. Even just in middle school, I remember, instinctually like having this leadership quality, but not understanding what it really meant and what that actually looked like, especially as a little girl. And then even just embracing rejection and the power that can come from that, the empowerment that can come from that, because it takes away the fear, because you're like, no, I got this and it's going to happen. So you accept it before it happens. So then it's not nearly as traumatizing. So as we shift from mindset, I want to, one of the things we also promised our audience is that we would talk about with the challenges coming and or existing right now that we're dealing with, including, market shifts and sales and production right now being what it is, protecting our business. Agents are concerned about losing business with the various changes coming down the pipeline, losing revenue, losing opportunities. Really, I want to ask, and I'll start with you, Michelle, here too. What suggestions do you have for leaders right now and for agents? Because I recognize and I believe all agents are leaders. How are you protecting your business? What suggestions do you think agents should do going forward to protect their business? Michelle.
Yeah, so I have a boutique brokerage, but we're really a large team. Everybody, and my brokerage is part of my team. And so I think the thing that we can do right now is, of course, as we said earlier, educate, make sure everybody knows what's coming. And then we've been setting ourselves up for the past year with knowing what's going on with the NAR lawsuit and knowing that we're going into election year. They've been talking about recession for like 2 years now, and just really looking at the business and what can I do? Because part of my value proposition on my team is that we provide leads for them and opportunities for them. And I have just reassured them that we're very financially stable and we're going to continue to do that. And so by doing that, I really looked at the business and how can we make money off of every area of our business. So in the past year, I've built a property management company, something I never wanted to do, but it just was a need from several of our investors. So we built property management. We've started a new mortgage company, a title company. I bought into a bank. I mean, I'm just really have many opportunities that are bringing other income into the brokerage so that my agents don't have to worry that, our systems that we use, that they're not going to have to worry about the lead systems, and the opportunities coming in for them will still be there. And as long as you're talking to them and being authentic with them and open and honest, and then they don't have fear. I think fear is unknown. And when you don't know what's going to happen, that causes anxiety in people. So we're like, okay, here's our plan. This is what's going to happen. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're making a stable company for you, so that this business will be here. You will have a job here. We will have these opportunities coming in, and they just know that it's part of the change. As we said, I said before, change is inevitable, and it's just the cycle of real estate in any business. And we just are here to support them and make sure that everything is functioning better than it was the year before.
Yeah, absolutely. Veronica, how about you? You have gone through some hills and valleys in your business too, and you always seem to be able to turn a challenge into a win. Like, I personally have experienced it and watched you and do exactly what Michelle has described, as just be transparent, be honest, bring stability, build the pillars around the business, right? To add all the layers of stability. Veronica, what's your advice to agents right now concerned about, losses and the decline in transaction count and things like that? What are you telling agents right now?
Yeah. And I think earlier, right, when we were prepping, we're talking to not just the agents, we're talking to the team leaders, we're talking to the broker owners across the board, right? Take what applies to you. I think it's really important that we can control the controllables, like, right, your unnecessary expenses, such as, look at your P&L. I think it's really important. That's what we did this year. We got super intimate with our P&L to say, like, what are some of the missed opportunities? What are some of the areas that we were just, cash flow was good, right? We've been doing this for the last year and a half. You hear this through all industry leaders, right? Control the variable. I mean, obviously control your fixed costs, and then of course have more variable expenses that you could control. So that's one thing that I would say. Even as simple, if you're an agent, you're like, oh, but I don't have high overhead as far as staff. No. I want you to go through your subscription on your phone, on your Apple Pay, and the things that you have on auto that you forgot, that was a $10 a month, a $15 a month, or it's going to annually renew and you didn't know. I want you to do little things like that. I want you to go through your credit card statement and see, right, circle the wagon, see, oh my goodness. So as an agent, on the agent level, what are you spending? And I want you to know what you are spending on that you believe is a part of your business. What is the return on investment you're getting? Is it worth keeping that expense versus, again, you may be saying, okay, I'm going to look at my book of business. Where am I getting the best return on my business? Hey, my sphere, I should do more, local farming events versus me thinking I'm going to chase the online lead gen. If you're not skilled, if you don't have the ISAs, if you don't have the back end support, like really analyze your business from an agent level, and then again, look at your calendar. How much time are you really, really carving out for your book of business that you could actually say, I am calling my database, my clients, my past clients. Are you really running it like a business? Because if we're going to talk about thinking like a leader, being a leader, then I want you to look at it. Are you really running it like a business? And your calendar will tell you if you're running it like a business. Those are some of the things you can control today. For us as a leader, I'm going to echo what Michelle says. We launched title, we launched mortgage. We're super excited about our expansion teams. We've opened up 2 other markets. We're on the verge right now of opening up 4 other markets that are secondary markets next to us. So if you're a leader, if you're a broker owner, team leader, sometimes we're thinking we can squeeze more transactions out of an agent, but the reality is that's not scalable all the time. You have to recruit the talent that you want to be in your world. So for me, my light bulb just happened. I was like, I'm by the beach. Why haven't we expanded to the beach where my clients vacation at or staycation at, right? We can make sure instead of sending my agents an hour and a half away, I should make it rain on a local agent there. So we've actually recruited some massive talent. We're actually making a huge announcement today of a team that came over and partnered with us because we had opportunity, and together with their leadership, boom, we're launching a whole new market around them because we had the opportunities. So we're looking at our business from 100,000 foot view and saying, what are we missing that is the opportunity right in front of us that we could do? So to my team leaders and my broker owners, like, think outside the box as to where you're missing out on opportunities, and you don't have to create new things. You just go deeper with what you have and create opportunities that live within what you already have. So that's my recommendation.
Love that. Wendy, what about you, Queen?
Well, I feel like Veronica and Michelle covered a lot of the things that I was going to talk about. if we're talking about, to the broker owners and, team leaders like myself, one of the 4 things that I've done for myself has been, once again, going to my mindset, you have to learn how to pivot, right? And then re-strategize how you're going to get to the goals that you wrote down at the beginning of the year. Number 1, adjusting your budget. So you created a pro forma at the very beginning of the year. Go back to it and adjust your budget. And then from there, number 2, I wrote down, recruiting talent, the right talent. Not only recruiting the right talent, but also being able to pivot. I'm using that word because you got to be able to pivot by letting go of the wrong people on your team, letting go of the people that are in your environment that are not bringing positive energy. You need to remove them out of your environment and so that you can continue to attract the positive. So environment is so important because that also reflects on the mindset of your team, of your business, and it'll reflect the peers on the team as well. So definitely be careful not to have negative energy in your environment, but focus on bringing positive and eliminating negative. Number 3, focus on training. Not only as a team leader myself, I really immersed myself on the education, making sure that I know my contracts, the new listing contract, knowing the new buyer's broker agreement, being confident that I know what I'm talking about. So then now you can actually give that back to your team as a team leader. And if you're a brokerage, making sure that you've got the right training. So because if education equals confidence, and if there's no education and your agents don't feel confident, it's because there's a lack of education in their environment. Number 4, I wrote down being able to create other streams of income for yourself. So this year I've been on top of it on my own. All these years I've been in real estate. I owned a home many years ago, went through transition with divorce, blah, blah, blah. And so now I'm in a place again where I'm like, okay, I have time to think. I have time to reflect, look at my budget, look at my income. How can I find another stream of income? So that's a question you can ask yourself, whether you're a broker, owner, a team leader, or you're just an agent, a single agent. Ask yourself that question. What could I do to create other streams of income? And so those are the things that I've been thinking about, guys. So if I can influence you on doing any one of those, go for it. And find the right partners. Finding the right partnership will help you elevate yourself, right? So if you're right here and you're stuck and you feel like you've hit a ceiling, then you need to go out there, look at your database. Who do I know? Who do I know who's up here? And I want to be there. I admire them. They influence me. They inspire me. Call them up. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone. I know sometimes that could be a little scary, even for myself, but you know what? Pick up the phone and say, hey, how you doing? And have a conversation and see if you can partner with them. And if you never ask, you'll never know. So don't be afraid of rejection. That's
I want to say too, Wendy, because that's actually a great segue for me anyway, as a moderator, into the next topic I want to talk about, which is growth, right? And so you talk about like finding those leaders or those people that are doing the things you aspire to do as a part of your growth strategy, right? Is like connecting with them. So, what other things, Wendy, I'll stick with you on this one, what other parts of your business are you looking to grow? Like where do you see the biggest growth opportunity right now for you and your business?
Well, I recently hired, an assistant this year, which was huge for me, right? Because we were talking about budgeting. You don't want to increase that. But what I did was I was able to eliminate some other things so that I can fit in my budget for an assistant. So what I'm focusing on is my systems, my follow-up systems. So now is the time where I look back in the last, couple of years where I'm like, okay, we can really hone in on the follow-up systems, because there's going to be a shift, you guys. There's going to be a shift and you got to be ready. And in order to be ready, you got to have your follow-up systems ready to go. Because if you try to be ready by the time there's a shift in the market, well, guess what? You're going to be busy doing deals. So there's no time. So now is the time for you to really focus on your systems. And for me, it's been follow-up systems. Not, being able to have my assistant be able to manage that. And, it's not just about, writing down 1, 2, 3. It's about actually creating, an actual organizational manual. Like, what does that look like? Because if that assistant leaves me this year and I have to go hire another one, well, guess what? I got to start from zero if you didn't write it down. So you got to write everything down in order for you to duplicate. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm focusing on my follow-up and exercising to get better at my lead generation, right? That's number one. I have always focused on expireds. I've always put focus on the cold calling. I'm really good at it. I really always encourage my agents to practice and be able to become better than what they think they are. And a lot of people are scared of the phones. But then again, they're scared to pick up the phone for their sphere of influence too. So I'm like, okay, you got to pick one. Sphere of influence, or here's a list. I'm going to give you, the expireds in the area. So I have focused in on what are my top 3. Okay, so I have been focusing on that. And my expireds, I'm sending them packages. I'm sending them beautiful listing packages to their home. Now, I don't have 100 of them. I really hone in on really exercising with my assistant. Okay, how likely are they to sell? Okay, we're going to send out 10 a week. I budgeted, I planned. So that's what I've been doing for listings. Number 2, calling, looking on Zillow. There's a lot of for sale by owners on there, guys. So one of my guys on my team, he focuses on that. That's my second lead source that I'm focusing on. So he's going in there looking at different cities and going, oh, okay, and getting all of the for sale by owners. And guess what? We're giving them a call and it's an easy script. Hi, how are you doing? Would you be interested in an all cash offer? Most of them, 90% of them are saying yes to us. So we're getting appointments. Once again, if you don't get appointments, you're not going to get a transaction. You got to focus on where can you find the appointments. Okay. And number 3, it's my follow-up systems. So those are my 3 tips.
Love. Oh, Wendy is dropping nuggets, y'all. I hope you are taking notes. So happy to see this. Awesome. Michelle.
I'm just sharing what I'm doing. And I'm not perfect. And I'm just sharing what I'm doing so that I can encourage all of you guys. You just have to hone in and focus. And in order to focus, we're going to go back to what we started this conversation with. Where's your mindset? Is it a fixed mindset or a growth mindset? Where are you at?
Love that. And it's so true. I mean, it's one of those things that, like, it's obvious and as you hear it, but sometimes we lose that reminder in our own, like, self-talk and also just, whatever it is we're doing with the other parts of our business, right? It's so easy to get distracted. So, but speaking of, continuing the growth conversation, Michelle, you have, grown an amazing business, right? And, and I know, like we talked about earlier, you've been through the recessions, you've been through the challenges, you've been through, a transition in the industry from, no agency to agency, right? You've started property management at a time even when you didn't want to. Speaking of, I did the same thing. I had a property management business as a broker, and I actually ended up selling it because I was like, I didn't want the stress or the drama or the trauma around property management, right? So, like, talk to us about growth for you. Do you think right now people should be trying to grow? And if so, like, what opportunities do you see today that you're leveraging to grow your business as you continue to move through this evolution?
Well, I think the first question that you have to ask yourself is, what do you want? Because if you don't know what you want, you won't ever get there. Business is individual. And I found being, high I, if you're talking in the disc, you love opportunities. You look at opportunities and you want to do everything. Then I had to stop and just start asking myself, do I want what I want? What I say I want, do I really want it? Mm-hmm. And that really changed for me. And every time a new opportunity comes around, I ask myself, do I really want this? Is this my end goal? Does this support my end goal? And so growth, I think, for someone that owns a team, you're always going to focus on growth. That is number one indicator of your success in this business, because you have people that will join you, you have people that will leave. And if you're really being authentic to your team, you can't keep everyone on your team. Maybe they don't follow the rules and guidelines of your team. And it's one of the most difficult things in leadership. If they don't fit your team, you just can't keep them. And so it's a different model, but I just believe that knowing what you want is pivotal. I mean, Wendy was talking about pivoting, but it's just so important to know what you want so that you know how to get there. Because what Veronica wants and what Wendy wants, I'm at a different stage in my life, and that may not be where I'm at for my team. And I know for me right now, I need to be the type of leader that, has one foot in the present and then one foot in the future. I'm always having I have to have a strong staff that they can handle the day to day, because that's not really where I'm at in my business anymore. I'm not running the day to day as much as I'm here a lot. I just got back from California, had a new grandchild, and was there for a month, and everything worked like clockwork while I was gone. And that is so important to me, because I have to be the visionary. I have to make sure that this business will be here, it'll be sustainable, that the money will be here to, I invest it correctly so that there's money that will support the systems that we have. And I just think knowing that, staying grounded in the present, because that's what we have to do, but then always looking in the future, seeing what is around the corner, what's going to happen, following the market is just so important for a leader.
Absolutely. And, awareness and clarity and confidence, all of that is like so important as it relates to growth and and strong leadership, right? Because part of leadership is creating an environment where, in your absence, other leaders can step up and continue to maintain the business, which is something amazing that you've built, that you're able to go enjoy being a new grandma, and and your business keeps going and keeps growing, right? Because you've done a
that doesn't
phenomenal.
happen overnight. You have to build up to that. It takes a while to get there, and
Yeah.
it's important.
But I think it still highlights a key thought, which is leverage, right? Like, as a leader, I do believe, like, one of my words is, especially as it relates to growth, like where I'm always pursuing growth, it's like, how do I create leverage in my life and in my business, right? Where I'm no longer trading time for money all the time. And I think that's a great point that you bring up. And like, it's not easy, it's not easy to do that, but it is doable, right? It's not impossible. And I think that's part of the conversation. So Veronica, you already talked about expansion, you're growing into other markets, what other opportunities do you see for growth right now with agents? What would be your highlight and your tips for agents right now when it comes to growth?
Yeah, I mean, I love what Michelle said about being in the present and also in the future. I suffer from that visionary disease that we have, that we're always thinking about the future, but putting me back to the reality of where we're at and how I can best support the people who look up to me, my team. We partnered with Place to be able to offer our agents additional resources on top of our amazing brokerage, right? And that allowed us to really enter into an ecosystem of productivity. And one of the things I'm really excited that we're just doing in the next 60 days, and even if you're with us, you're not with us, you're not on our team, I want you to leave you with this. What would the next 60 days look like if you put yourself in a position to truly challenge yourself? Productivity contest that we're doing today is in the next 60 days, my agents will sign up and either do 50 open houses or 5,000 dials. It's a very, very production focused contest to say, how are they going to finish the remainder of the year, right? As an agent, this is something our agents all committed to doing. We did a contest. We invited everyone to do it together. We have over half of our team participating in it. We have daily and weekly check-ins on how's it going? Agents are teaming up together to do the open houses together and one-to-one, doing really cool open house like experiences, not just an open house sticking sign in the yard. They're doing it together. We're supporting them. They're doing, and then if they actually do both, which is the bonus of the $5,000 and the open house, they're getting an all, a mastermind with Ben Kinney, which is one of my dear friends. And, we're literally setting them up for success to expand their mind, see what's possible, but push themselves over the next 60 days, right? So I'm working on growth opportunities, expansion opportunity, but I also go back to my team and say, what do we know we can control in our business? And it's the activities that we do. So our agents and, we're doing this together. We're working through the motions, through the conversations of like, okay, maybe you don't want to do this. What, maybe you want to give up, right? But we're doing this together. We committed to do this together. And we're already hearing tons of success stories. Our agents are so grateful. If it didn't happen in the CRM, it never happened, right? So there's there's transparency, there's incentives, but it's something that we're doing together to, again, get our agents to push through and muscle through these hard times, these challenging times, and just focus on just who you become on the other side of pushing yourself, even in a hard market. You determine your market by the activities that you decide to do, right? Your calendar. So they're doing moonlight open houses, daytime open houses, weekday open houses, partnership open houses, and we're not asking them to have 5,000 conversations. We're asking them to have 5,000 activities in their database over the next 60 days. And actually now it's about the next 52 days, because we're a week in. And, the activity itself right now is just helping our agents have massive breakthroughs. We're going to do another challenge right now. It's going to be how many videos they do within the next 60 days is the next challenge, right? Because we want them to see the power behind the consistency of them just doing these activities. And the truth is, as we're growing all these other markets, for the very first time, we're using a lot of our strategic partnerships to break into markets where conversion is highly measured. But I'm excited as a leader and someone who's built a team to say, what are the things I would have done differently? It's building a sustainable farming, lead generation, sphere-based team that they can, again, control the things that they control. The icing on the cake is the lead gen that we bring in, right? That's a sprinkle on top to enhance their business or get them fast tracked into conversations. But the goal is for them to be a strong team that is homegrown, belly to belly, out in the community, doing lots of videos, being the source. So I'm actually having a lot of fun with these other markets, doing the things that my current core team kind of like we're tripping over opportunities every day. So now we're rewiring them to now have a healthy balance of both. So that's what we're doing in the now today to grow their business over the next 60 to 90 days.
I love it. A couple of things I want to kind of highlight and think about, especially before we move into this next topic. Number one, I love how you are rewarding the behavior that you expect, right? Like you must inspect what you expect as a team leader. And by doing contests, people are often rewarded by kind of that competition, especially healthy competition is never a bad thing. And you don't have to be on a team to create that too, right? Like you can just be a part of a group of agents who band together, who want to support one another and create. You can create internally your own events and competitions and be able to like move the needle in your business. Because there's something about when you get a couple of people together who are all fully supporting each other to help one another grow, for sure. And then you also mentioned Ben Kinney, a friend of yours and who I've been able to make acquaintance with. And I'm glad you brought up Ben because it will help me transition to our next topic. And for those of you guys that don't know, Ben Kinney is a co-founder and I believe the CEO of Place is his official title. Very smart man, by the way. And I always enjoy listening to him because he's such a thought leader in the industry. And he has been a real estate practitioner for a lot of his career, right? So I believe he has a team or had a team and has been a strong leader in the industry. And so next week, I bring this up because next week I'm going to be in California for a couple of days. But the reason I'm going is for this event called Horizon 2024. And it's this small, intimate event in Newport Beach, and you can Google it or you can message me and I'll send you a link if you're interested in coming to California. But Ben Kenny's going to be there, Leo Pareja, the CEO of EXP, Emily Paquette, the CEO of Inman, Tom, is it? Oh my gosh, I'm gonna mess up his last name. Or Tim. He's the CEO of I believe Homeward, right? Or is it Orchard? Which one is he? Homeward, right? I think.
Homeward, yeah. Is it Tim Siegel?
Yeah, I think so. And then the CEO of Skyslope. Like, I mean, you're gonna see all these amazing powerhouse leaders come in and talk about leadership and their transition into their business. And so I can't wait to hear Ben Kenny's story and some of these leaders as they shared their insights into leadership. And so, but I'm also passionate about female leadership. And, this whole event is called Taking Your Leadership to the Next Level. So let's spend this last bit of our time talking about leadership. You, Michelle, are currently leading a team/brokerage today. And, there's always continued challenges, right? So, and you alluded to some of this already, but, anything else you might add when it comes to leadership of your team and your brokerage that you think is relevant to broker owners, especially independent broker owners right now? I think it's even a bigger challenge if you're an indie broker compared to like being a part of a franchise sometimes, because if you don't choose to be a part, it can be very isolating. And leadership is, such a valuable and needed part, especially with everything happening right now. So talk to us about leadership, Michelle, for you.
I think there are a lot of boutique brokerages right now. I think we're seeing that a lot more. And I love my rose-colored glasses as much as anyone, but I think the way that you really manage disruption is by acknowledging it. And when there's things going on, that it's important to have people that you can talk to and other mentors. And it's important that you talk to your people and let them know what's going on. We'd been talking about this NAR lawsuit for over a year, and several people in our market didn't even know about it. My agents were already being very proactive when having those conversations. And so I just think you just stay in front of it and realizing who you are as a leader, because, everything's a program, just like a computer program. You have to realize what your weaknesses are and learn about who you are and how you overcome and change. And that is by what you read. I'm such an avid learner and reader, and by the people you surround yourself with and the groups that you're in. It's just really important. And so you don't feel isolated and you feel like you're part of just action, really action in the market, which I think just helps everyone and helps your agents feel like that they're not just settling, that they're really learning and growing and changing and keeping up with the market. I just think the brokerages, the smaller brokerages that are used to just staying the same way and not innovating and not changing, I think those are the ones that you're going to see, that will not make it. It has to be, we have to be not only an optimist, but we have to be a realist as well. And no one wants to follow a pessimistic leader. And if you're online, you see all of this stuff that's going to happen and all this pessimism, and no one wants to follow anyone that's just spewing that out. And it's just be optimistic, but be real, I think, with your people. And I think that's really important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. It's like I watch those Facebook groups, right, with the masterminds and like the negativity. I'm like, ugh, like, I just I want to tune them out. I mean, it's just
I left a few because of it. I actually was like, I gotta.
Yeah, I did too. I just kind of got out of so many groups because I'm just like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll do business as always. You'll just do it a little bit different.
Yep, we're gonna do it differently. So speaking of doing it differently, and I know at EXP, the core value of EXP is agility, right? And Veronica's been like, queen of, like I said, agility as well. Yes. So, how important is agility right now, right? Like, how important is it to be agile, to be able to pivot, to be able to shift? not just mindset, but business practice, ideation, innovation, leadership. I mean, how important is that right now, Veronica? And like, how are you being agile to kind of help you transition over the next 6 months, and all the things that we anticipate are going to happen and or change?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of my favorite core values is, again, innovation and the ability to be agile and pivot. Since I can remember, that's what I've always done. I came into this market in 2004, 2005, and then short sales hit. So I had to learn short sales. And, in the REO market, there was no inventory. I had to figure out how I was going to become an agent that asset managers could trust. And next thing you know, I'm running teams all over the state. I had to learn how to, run an REO division. Then when that dried up, I had to learn online lead gen. And then when iBuyers potentially were going to come on the market, I was like, ooh, what does that mean? Like, we could test this. And will sellers really click a button to request an offer? So I've always been someone willing to say, okay, let me lean into this opportunity. And of course, COVID hit. How do you run your teams virtually? Now, obviously, the things that we're doing to pivot and grow and expand through other markets. I bring my leaders up, right? There's a growth opportunity there for them. I have to think differently. I can't stay in my old ways. Sometimes my analysis paralysis or my limited thought process has limited me on opportunities because I was stuck in my old ways. We all have that. But then I go back to saying, no, we have to stay agile. We have to pivot. We have to stay open-minded to the possibilities. What are you not seeing? And I think right now, it is so important more than ever. Look, the changes are going to happen, whether you like it or not. NAR settlement has been established. What we know is buyers and sellers are still going to buy and sell. The difference is, are they going to choose you? And how have you adapted with the market, right? Are you offering cash offer incentives? Are you offering flexible commission plans? Are you offering, competitive compensation models for your agents where they want to stay with you as a lifer, broker, owners, team leaders? Are they feeling like they have a pathway of growth? And I actually just got off a meeting earlier today with our leadership team, and we're planning on, we're talking about, hey, some of the areas that we need to be agile as a team. What do we need to see that we're not seeing to help us serve those agents and make sure that they feel like, again, we're remaining agile as well, not just them having to pivot to all the industry changes. How, as a team and their support system, are we also being agile? And we put our agent hat on because every single person in my leadership team has either been an agent, for a long, long, long time, started on the team, and sometimes, now they're leaders, but sometimes they say, are we wearing our leadership hat or wearing our agent hat? We have to wear both because we have the heart of both. So we are leveraging this opportunity. Something that I did early on this year, and it's recorded, it's out there on YouTube. I declared at the beginning of this year, Kendall, that I was going to go all in with the resources that I had in front of me that I wasn't leveraging. And one of the things that we did was jump on our EXP exclusives. And I live by this. I texted you yesterday for some stuff on Revenos, and I'm speaking to a group of people like, what are you missing out on that you have right in front of you that you don't even know because you're not willing to think with the innovative approach or be agile? We picked up 175 listings just from leaning into a brokerage partnership account, right? And we were willing to go a little deeper, be a little bit innovative, also say, okay, what can we do to make this scale? How do we get it to scale? And now we have communities that we're representing, brand new bills we're representing, leveraging this to open other markets. So I had to put, my thinking cap on and say, okay, what am I missing? Early on this year, I said, there's opportunities within this brokerage that I need to lean into that are unique strategies, different strategies. And there is opportunity there and I don't want to miss it. And boom, I was very intentional with it. We executed, we built another division, and boom, now we have opportunities. Those listings will turn into more babies for our agents, right? More listings if we, add the right innovative, ad campaigns, marketing strategies around them, right? To get more listings. And then when I see we have those opportunities, it's a recruiting opportunity for that market. That might be a new secondary market as well. So those are just some of the things that we did and how we also were nimble and agile and willing to say, okay, if we're losing business here, where do we find new business? Where do we retain our agents? What are the things we could do better as a team? And as a leader, I constantly stay on edge. Like, all right, where do I need to pivot? Where do we need to pivot? And how can we grow through this opportunity?
I love it. I love that. And that's so important. It's like, regardless of what brokerage you're at, it's so important to tap into the services you're already paying for. You know, your brokerage is providing you resources and services, like you need to be tapped into that, because you're already paying for it, right? That's part of the value proposition that you've chosen to align yourself with by choosing to work with that leader and that broker. You know, speaking of, you know, leadership again, Wendy, you have, I know, you know, I know some of your journey and your story, and you have also had to, you know, make changes to your business strategy, right? You've had to, you know, learn. I'm sure you've learned lots of lessons, right? And all kinds of things, lots of wisdom through all of the experiences that you've had, especially as a leader, right? Can you share with us some of those pivots that you've had to make, some of those you know, changes that you've had to make to the business strategy, and what lessons you've learned that you can share with our audience, so that, because I'll tell you this is why this is important, guys. And this is what you're getting from every single woman on this panel. My mom taught me a wisdom. She said, you don't need to make the mistake to learn the lesson. There's wisdom. I have four from listening to women and other leaders, what they did well, what they did wrong. You know, what were the lessons that they extracted? What lessons could I take from what they've done so that I could be better at what I do? And so I think this is like such a phenomenal panel. Thank you, ladies. And Wendy, you know, if you could answer us, you know, what lessons have you learned, and what changes have you made with your strategy?
Wow. Okay. So what have I learned? Number one thing this year is I've learned to slow down. I think when I, you know, being in the industry for 20 years around huge, you know, business owners and leadership, I jumped in all in when I launched the team for about 4 years ago. But I was sprinty, like, you know, I sprinted into it, like, yeah, I can do this, right? And so, you know, it's been up and down, right? And in order to create more of you know, a momentum that doesn't shift so high and so low, I've had to slow down this year and really think about the systems. Who am I partnering up with? What's the type of education I'm giving myself? And then the number one thing that I really have done is I put the oxygen mask on myself first. Because I'm such a giver, and most leaders are servant leaders. You know, every single one of us who has teams or businesses and we're leading others is because you've got a servant leadership type of heart. And I have that. So you give, and you're like, whoa, right? You slow down for a minute, and all of a sudden I have no oxygen. So what I did this year was I slowed down. I put on my own oxygen mask first. And how I did that was I started taking care of myself and really being intentional about that. And self-care, you guys, is so important. And most of us don't do it. Not because we make a decision like, oh yeah, we're just not going to do that. It's because we don't think about it. We're too busy thinking about other people. So my advice on what's, you know, helped me pivot and everything we talked about today has been to slow it down with yourself first. And some of the tips that I can like share with you has been my health, like, you know, my physical and mental health, doing, you know, exercising, doing the writing, reading. And one of the books that I did maybe a quick training maybe 2 months ago was a book that Michelle Cantrell actually gave it to me. It was a book called Exactly What to Say by Joan Smith Hacken. It's a tiny little book, and it's the best book in there. I mean, it's got probably 35 questions in there that has really helped me become a better speaker, better communicator when I'm with clients and in my personal life. Because part of being a highly successful salesperson is being highly successful in the way you communicate. So if you are not immersing yourself on how to learn how to ask the right questions, you're missing that one. You know, you're missing out. So if I can advise you to do something is get better at your communication, get better at asking the right questions. So I'll say the book again, Exactly What to Say by Joan Smith Hacken. I have it right here next to my office, and it's all, see all these little tabs? Because I literally will take one a week, and I'm just really studying it. So back to answering your question, what have I done to be where I'm at today this year is I slowed down. And being here today, I feel privileged being around all you women, because I look up to you guys, and, I feel like if I didn't stop, if I didn't slow down, I wouldn't be here on this call with you, because I wouldn't be able to share with you, the things that we all have shared together, but really honing in on mindset, focus, the partnerships, right? Focusing on the 3 lead sources. So there's, really honing in on the clarity on your why and your goals. And another thing I did that was a mistake was, I'm a visionary. And visionaries sprint. They don't crawl and they don't walk. They just sprint. And so, you want all this. You want this big vision, these big goals. And in a way, you're overwhelming yourself and you're overwhelming everybody else around you. They're just not telling you. Okay? So you got to hone in. Yes, still have the big goals and still speak out the vision. But what I also did was I honed in on every quarter. Okay, what am I going to do this quarter to meet my goal? Oh, I'm behind. Well, I still have to meet that goal before I move on to the next quarter. And you know what? You're going to be behind. It's not going to be perfect, but failing forward is part of the process.
Oh, you're muted, Kendall.
You're muted, Kendall.
Sorry. Trying to be a good listener and mute myself and not be distracted. Sorry. Yes, so good though, Wendy, and so many good lessons there. I love that book too. I'm surprised I didn't tell you about that book, but I'm so glad Michelle did.
If you ever want a book, I know Veronica.
Just ask me, right, Wendy?
Michelle, just go to Michelle's library. Michelle, how many books do you read, Michelle?
I don't know. Probably, hundreds and hundreds a year.
Yeah,
So.
she reads so much, and so just go to Michelle. She'll give you a good book.
Always ask. I can always recommend one.
Well, I also want to say again, based on what your learning style is, right? I read a book, but I listen to the Audible at the same time while I read at 1.5 or 1.7. But another tool that, and I know Kendall, you're an avid reader, just like Michelle. Me, I want to read so many books at the same time. One thing I would definitely recommend is the app Headway. I learned this one in Dean Graziosi's mastermind group, one of the CEOs, how he reads and stays up to date with the type of books. Because sometimes you feel like, oh my gosh, how come I can't sit and read a whole book from beginning to end? Well, this is a really good tool for us ADHD people who run really, really fast and can't relax and sit and smell the coffee while you're reading a book. I still don't want you to miss out on some really good tools. Headway is a really good book support reading app.
When you fly, read when you fly. It's the best. You can just bust through a book. It's when you do it. I also recommend Masterclass. That is amazing. I love it. I was listening, to it this morning. When I'm getting ready, I'm constantly learning, and it's so important.
I have another recommendation. I do podcasts when I'm getting ready in the morning after I do my ritual. I'm just listening to my podcast while I'm putting my makeup on. Brian Gubernick has a podcast that's called No Days Off. You guys, it is amazing the things that he says on there. He literally shares all the tips that he shares with his big mastermind. It's an exclusive mastermind group that he has on his own. And I believe that's with Ben Kenny as well. But I'm telling you, you get some great nuggets. I have a pen and a notepad next to my phone, and I'm like, oh, that's a good one. And I'm literally writing it down. So, and you can go in there. He talks about finances, wealth building, mastery, team owners, business owners. Any topic that you want to learn about, he's got it. So that's my recommendation for a podcast.
Love it. And that I agree with all their recommendations. The other thing I do is, I'm like Veronica said, I'm a reader. I have a Kindle, right? So I can travel everywhere with it, loading hundreds of books at any given time. And I read on the nights I can't sleep. Sometimes I just have a hard time going to bed. That's another great thing to do. So instead of turning the TV on or going to your social media, start reading a good book.
Yeah.
But I do we had one question in the audience that I know we didn't address online yet. So I wanted to quickly get Christina's question. Wendy, during one of your answers, I know you had mentioned how your team was calling for sell by owners, offering cash offers. So Christina was asking, how are you offering all cash offers? Is it through an iBuyer or something similar? Could you take a quick second to answer her question?
So there's Open Door. I became part of Open Door this year. And so that is something that you have to apply for. The second thing is I created a list for the first time, believe it or not, in 4 years. I started because I was intentional. I created a list of investors. So I've got about 6 investors right now that every time I get a lead on Zillow, I'll send them the information. And we also created like a package around that. So we have a group text message going. So I'm literally, I copy and paste, boom, 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 and see who's gonna respond quickly. Through EXP, there's also express offers. You have to get certified for it. But that's definitely another avenue. I haven't had the downtime to get certified yet, but I'm definitely would encourage it if you're EXP. And I know Veronica and Michelle have other ways of creating all cash offers too.
Yeah. So, and just to clarify on that, Queen, with express offers, we have a quick path to Open Door express offers, and you do not need to be certified to do that. So that's only.
Oh, okay. So that changed.
Yeah. And we have 40 other buyers in our express offers platform. So if you get certified, you get access to that. So that is really cool. That's one of my projects I'm working on. So at my current role. So like, I'm very passionate about express offers and cash offers and Open Door, and those protecting or having those relationships. So glad that you guys are utilizing that tool. And so, but anyway, so I'm glad we got to answer it, to respect everyone's time. Thank you so much, everyone, for being on this call with us today. I value you, I respect you, and I thank you for being on this call with me today and with one another. And thank you to our audience. And
thank you for having us. You were great.
We appreciate you so much and everything you do to I think we need to pause for a minute.
Yes, I was feeling
I don't think we're done yet. I just want to say thank you for being such a beacon of light in our industry, the industry leader. I mean, having your representation out there, leading the path for women in leadership. I know we all are leaders here, but it's really awesome to see you in your new role and advocating for all of us. I think you are a leader of non-denomination, right? You want everybody to succeed in every brokerage, whatever level they're at. And I want to take this moment and thank you for stepping up, for taking on the responsibility of leadership at the capacity that you're at. I know you have the heart of an agent, broker, team leader, franchise owner. You know it all. You know what it feels like to be all of them. And I just wanted to wrap up by saying thank you for what you're doing, especially during this NAR change that's going on. You have given so many people certainty and peace of mind that we could get through this. So I want to close out by honoring you for stepping up, for us to all say, look, this is what leadership does. We step up even, during hard times, and we pull in the leaders that have the skill set. And you have it, my friend, to give us all, I would say, that certainty we're going to get through this. So
amen to that. And before we leave, for those of you who are still on, Kendall is going to be here in Southern California on the 15th, and she's going to be speaking on the NAR settlement. So do we have like all the details of time, place, and all of that, Kendall?
Yeah, we do. I do technically. I just don't have it in front of me, but it is Monday, I think at 11 a.m. We'll be creating an invite on my Facebook or on my profile today. So tune in to all of us. Go follow us on Instagram. Go follow us on Facebook. Go connect with us. Send us messages, to connect. We all have varying ways to give back to the community, and we want to give back to you. That's why we're on this call today, because we love our industry and we love the people within it, and we want to protect it and we want to see it thrive. Like I am over the idea of survival. I am into thrive, right?
Yes.
So no, we thrive. So is why we do this, right? So thank you for everyone that's watching on this call live, anyone that views it afterwards. Like I said, connect with us. I'm also doing an online Facebook Live on demystifying the NAR settlement. I'm doing it with, if you know James Rambert, Zillow Killer. If you know who Zillow Killer is, I'm doing it for his group on Friday. So again, stay tuned to my social. I'm letting you guys know on those places where I will be, but I'm going to do a live prezo, like I said, in California in person. It is limited seating, so if you are in town to see that, you definitely want to register ASAP because we do have limited capacity for that. So thank you, Michelle, for being an amazing panelist. Thank you, my one of my dear heart friends, Veronica. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And of course, Wendy, who's the mastermind behind all of this. This is her mastermind idea, and I just wanted to, I'm so glad to be a part of it and see it come to life. Thank you for thinking of this and wanting to do it and sharing the talents and the minds, the brilliant minds of the female friends that you have in your world. And I hope we get to do this again soon and highlight even more leaders as we continue to move through these evolving times. So thank you. Appreciate you. And that is the end of.
Good to see you.
Bye.